you've had your heart broken, then you know how bad it feels when the man that you pictured your entire life with has decided to distance himself from the relationship. Or maybe he's altogether just directly said that he doesn't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. He can't see himself with you. There's something about you that doesn't feel right. The relationship doesn't feel good to him anymore. And he's just decided to end the relationship. It is the most painful experience that any one of us can go through. And in this video, I want to talk about why I believe no contact is the best way to increase attraction and therefore get your ex back. Because what happens when we have been broken up with is the level of attraction has decreased and it's diminished. So that means that we've been behaving in certain ways in the relationship for a period of time, because it's never just one event, one reaction that causes a man to want to break up with us. It usually is a series of events that have occurred over time that make a man want to suddenly distance himself from us. And generally, what happens is the attraction then goes down. If we have a high level of attraction in the relationship, then we can get away with more. And so we really want to maintain attraction in our relationships because attraction also gives us leeway in that we are not perfect. We're human beings and we're all on this spiritual path of learning and growing, and our relationships are really the best environment for us to learn and grow. And if a relationship is the environment where we're going to learn and grow, we're naturally going to behave in ways sometimes that are not the most flattering and therefore unattractive. So if we increase attraction in the relationship overall, then those times where we're not acting our best, we're still healing from our past. And so we behave in a way that might not be like our best version. If there's a lot of attraction in the relationship, a man can quickly forgive. What tends to happen when a man has decided to no longer be in the relationship is that he's not seeing any progress towards moving in the right direction in the relationship, where these behaviors are no longer something that is ongoing. He's noticing change. When a person wants to break up in the relationship, it's because they believe that there's not going to be any change in the relationship. And therefore, the attraction has gone down so much that their best recourse is to remove themselves from the relationship. No contact is the best way to spark desire in a man again, because when we create space, and in my channel, you know that I always talk about space, I talk about absence, I talk about distance, because absence and space and distance can work in so many different ways to maintain the health of a relationship. And so in this situation, when a man is unsure that he wants to be in the relationship, or that he's even communicated to you that he doesn't want to be with you, our natural inclination as a woman is to, out of fear, react and then go into convincing behaviors, cry, maybe we'll beg, we'll do whatever we can to plead with our partner so that he doesn't end the relationship. Of course, all of these coping mechanisms stem back from childhood. Whatever we did to get attention from our primary caregivers, if those things that we did worked, naturally what's going to happen is we have learned how to react in that way when something doesn't go our way. And so we react that way in our adult relationships. And oftentimes these are not healthy ways of behaving, because if they were, then our relationship wouldn't be at this point where we're watching this video. And so what happens with women is when a man decides that he doesn't want to be with us anymore, and let's say that we are actually interested in this man, is that we move into survival. We move into a space of trying to hold on to this relationship because we don't want to be alone. We're afraid of being abandoned. As women, we have this fear of being left, being abandoned, not having someone to take care of us. This again stems from early childhood, and oftentimes the relationship that we didn't have with our father, the emotional relationship that we didn't get from our father. That's why women that are more their feminine energy can move into codependency, whereas in women that are more in their masculine energy have learned to be alone. So their response is, I'm good on my own. It's a very different response that a woman in her feminine energy will have, because she'll move into, I can't do this alone, like I'm going to be alone. And it feels like a threat to our safety and survival as women. It comes back from childhood. And so what we generally do is we want to convince him to stay with us, and we move into begging, all the things that signal to a man ick and actually make a man want to move away from you even more. When a man is deciding that he doesn't want to be with you, as much as this is going to hurt you, and it is going to hurt you, you have to really discipline yourself. And this is the masculine within, to not convince him into being with you. You want to remain centered in your worth, and you want to allow yourself the space to process your feelings. In my inner work course, I teach you how to do that. I teach you how to self-soothe. I teach you how to have the core beliefs that every woman that feels good about herself has, so that when a man does want to break up with her, she doesn't have the urge to convince him. She has the urge to also pull back, because she thinks, well, if you don't want to be with me, then I don't want to be with you. And this is not from her masculine energy ego. This is from her own innate desire and well-being to take care of herself and understand that she is a quality woman and she showed up a certain way in the relationship. So if he doesn't want to be with her, then that's his loss. She has the trust and faith in the universe, which is the feminine energy, that another person is going to come. When a man decides that he wants to pull away, as much as you want to lean in and you want to convince him that he's making the wrong decision, what you want to do is just say, okay. When you do that, what happens is his defenses, first of all, like go down, because his defenses are naturally heightened when he's with you. If we're emotionally reactive quite often, he's going to have the experience that if he tells you he doesn't want to be with you, you're going to lose emotional control. And of course, the attraction wanes even more when we do that. But when you say, okay, all of a sudden he thinks, huh, that's interesting. That's not what I expected her to say. And that's not how I expected her to react. And this doesn't really make sense why she's doing that. And a smidgen of attraction starts to grow. This is a good thing. Here's the thing: men don't really trust us if we're only doing something like one time. So if we have a history of emotionally reacting, then if we say okay and we allow him to do what he wants to do as a man and make his own decisions, he's not going to trust that we actually mean it. So what's going to happen is you're going to have to take that space. You're going to have to maintain composure, and you're going to have to maintain the distance and give him that space and time to actually evaluate if this was the right relationship for him. Consequently, also for you, because sometimes when we're in the relationship, we don't have a chance to assess if this is the right relationship for us. And if we're in survival, then we're in this relationship based on the unhealthy aspects of us. Oftentimes it's trauma bonding, it's attaching, and we're really replaying childhood behaviors and the environment that we were coming from as a child, that we're replaying this in our adult relationships. And until we heal from that, we can't have a different dynamic. We won't really know what's going on until we take a certain amount of space and we gain clarity about what's going on. And if you need help with this, you can book a session with me as well, and definitely do the inner work, etc. In the meantime, what you want to do is you really just want to disappear. So you don't want to do anything that you think will regain a man's attraction, meaning you don't want to post on your story and act like you're okay. I know a lot of dating coaches will say, like, act like you're okay and post stories and do this. No, it looks fake and it looks very manipulative. And a man knows that if you're just all of a sudden posting stories and acting like you're going out and you're fine, you're trying to get his attention. It's actually better to go no contact and completely silent, like radio silent, because what happens then is a man starts to think, is she like okay? Is she over me? What is she doing? What is she thinking? His mind starts to become his worst enemy, because now he slowly starts to think about you. And as the time progresses, that increases for him. So the more time you give it, this is why time is so beautiful and absence and space is so beautiful in the right circumstances, because you want to give a man space to forget the bad memories. You want to give him space to forget like everything he didn't like and the conflict in the relationship. And if you are being emotionally reactive, you're probably really in love with the guy and you're probably a really good woman, and you probably just don't know how to communicate how you feel in a healthy way, because you've also gone through trauma in your life and you just haven't healed. That's why inner work is so important. So when he's had space and time and distance, what happens is he can start to remember that, oh wow, she must have really cared about me. Like, I've never had someone care about me this much. Did I make a mistake? And it allows him to critically analyze his role in the relationship and what he could have done better. If you just minimize this gap and this space, you're not allowing the man to come to terms with what's happened in the relationship. Now, here's the thing: men don't have this realization right away, because oftentimes, if the relationship didn't feel good to him, the primary emotion he's going to have when he's not with you is relief. He's going to feel, I'm so glad that I don't have to be in this situation anymore. this was a headache. And I know this is going to hurt your feelings, but I just want to give you like an insight into the male mind. He's going to feel that like, I don't have to baby this woman anymore and I don't have to deal with this drama. I want peace in my life because men all want peace in their life. And if they believe that the relationship was a lot of drama and that you were never satisfied, when he's away from you, initially he's going to feel relief and he's going to feel happy that the relationship ended. That is going to eventually wane. The longer you stay quiet and the longer you stay silent, the more he's going to start wondering what you're up to. Here's the key. In this space of no contact, you got to do your inner work. Read Secrets of the Feminine Woman, read my book, What Men Want, do my inner work course. It's my self-study course. There's 25 hours of content there. Teaches you about masculine and feminine energy, inner work, patterns, how to self-soothe, how to regulate your nervous system. It's going to teach you how to do all of these things. In the meantime, when you're not together, you have to work on yourself, because if you don't work on yourself, you're not changing your aura and your energy so that when he does reach out to you again and you react in the same way, what's going to happen is he's going to say, okay, well, my decision was a good one. And then he's really going to be gone for good because he's going to come back to test the waters. And if he comes back to test the waters and nothing has changed, and again, this is not strategy. I've worked with so many women around the world, doctors, lawyers, etc., around the world, that I've gotten them to the point where the guy was coming back and they were doing the inner work, they did everything. But then because it takes time to really implement new ways of being in our body, as soon as they started to kind of get the guy back, they started to react in their old egoic ways. And what would happen then is a guy would just completely disconnect and not want to be with the woman anymore. And then it's very hard at that point to reestablish trust in the relationship with the guy again, because if he's coming back and he's seeing a change in you, but then you react in a way that he didn't find attractive in the relationship, you have to kind of start all over again. And then this whole period of time extends and it like lags out because now he doesn't believe you anymore. And this whole process takes a lot longer. And the chances of getting back together after that are very slim. So you really have to do the inner work during this time. Book calls with me, speak to me, and like I'll help you with that. And do the work that I mentioned in the inner work course. At some point, so as you're doing your inner work, you're also feeling your feelings, you're grieving. When you're actually feeling the feelings, like the feminine feel, she's not gonna say, screw you if she really liked this guy, like move on. She's gonna be with herself, she's gonna be with her feelings. The masculine says, screw you, I wanna like live my life. But then if the feminine actually processes her emotions and grieves the way that she should, then what's gonna happen is she's gonna actually start moving on. And this is when the masculine goes, oh shoot, like I miss her. And the roles start to reverse. And so this is kind of what happens in these dynamics where it wasn't working and then there's space and then the woman is like processing her emotions and looking at what she could have taken accountability for, what she could have done differently. She's healing and dealing with her feelings. The masculine is not thinking about his feelings. He just wants relief. He wants to go out. He wants to live his life. This is what men do initially. But then when they haven't heard from the feminine, and eventually going out and ignoring your feelings gets old because you can't fake your feelings. You can't like move away from the person that you really love, especially if the person in the relationship was a good person. So if he really had strong feelings for you, he's always going to be thinking about you. And even if he tries to move on, he's not going to be able to move on. And then he's going to start thinking about you. Then he's going to test the waters and he's going to message you most likely. He's going to start showing up in your reality again. I'll do another video for this, but in that time, this is when you want to increase your level of attraction so that he sees you as the higher version of you, not the immature version of you that's like, reacting and trying to like get validation from him. He's seeing you as this embodied woman. And if you handle the stage correctly when he's coming back, then the likelihood of you guys commencing your relationship and oftentimes like your relationship becoming stronger is just going to increase. No contact is pivotal when a man wants to break up with you or doesn't want to be in the relationship anymore. And anything that you do to circumvent his need for space is literally only going to push him away further. And the more that you try to get him to stay with you, and this is why you need to learn how to self-soothe, you need to learn how to be with yourself. And I teach you how to do this in my paid products. Because if you don't know how to do this, you're just going to keep reacting. And the more you react, the more it's going to drive him away from you. And the chances of him coming back towards you is going to be very, very low. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.